Hi, we're Shakespeare Art Studio. I'm Phoebe.
And I'm Phoebe's mum, Francesca. We've been coming up with ideas for you to try at home.
Find us on Instagram, Facebook and YouTube.
Today we're going to paint a trompe-l'oeil mural. This you can do on any bit of white wall, bathroom, bedroom, back of a door. So I'm going to delineate my area, and then I want to have a balustrading about here, and I want a bit of floor. The next step is a very quick lesson in perspective. All parallel lines meet at a certain vanishing point, and that vanishing point is more or less your horizon or your eye level. And then all the lines are going to meet at that vanishing point. The middle line is a bit of a trick because that is actually straight to there, and from your vanishing point to there. The back tile, they get closer and closer as they go back. So that will be a little bit smaller than the front tile, and that should help this feeling that we're going back into the picture. So I'm just giving this drawing a wash to get the tonal values and to establish the composition. Okay, we're going to start drawing it onto the wall. So I've got a stick and a bit of sort of grey chalk. See a line down there, so I know that's more or less vertical. Balustrade bit. Right, what we've done here is we've transferred the sketch onto the wall, and then when we've done it with the chalk, we have blocked it in with a washy paint. This is a really good background to sky colour, and then I'll come in with some clouds in a minute. If you are worried about making straight lines with your brushes, masking tape is really useful. Now it's very important to know what side the light is coming from. I'm now going to add light on the left hand side of the sort of mass of cloud, and I've even got a sponge which I use to sort of blend colours together.
Now we're going to add a bit of this kind of mauvey colour into the blue of the sky, because it will become our furthest away mountains. And I'm just going to pull the back mountains through the tree, so we've got a bit of that distance. So now we're going to come in with the middle hill, and for this we want to take the mauve of the back mountain and add some green. A bit of green. So as we come down now into the kind of mid-ground, we're going to fill the green of the lawn in. We want it to be really luscious, so we're going to use quite a bright green. Really use the paintbrush to define the shape of the path. And I mix these two together to kind of meet in the middle and make a slightly less vibrant green.
I've got a soft terracotta colour to paint the little house on the hill. This is like a little Tuscan tower, so it goes up a bit further. Slightly runnier. I'm just going to give this farmhouse a few windows. Right, there's a little bit of shadow. In fact, I'm going to put a little bit more light on this side of the roof. Sister-in-law's kitchen cupboard tester pots. 3 perfect bluey greens for Cypress trees. Okay, so I'm going to use the same principle of it being bluier and paler in the background and then becoming more vibrant as the cypress trees come towards us. We'll create a sense of perspective. So I'm bringing in a little bit of yellow and lighter green on this side, just treating it as a solid shape that's being lit from the left. But again, this process fades out as you go into the distance. I'm now going to put some shadows in because light makes all the difference, but so do shadows. So I'm going to go back to Phoebe's green, and I'm going to pick up sister-in-law's green, bluey green, and I'm just going to add a bit in there. In Italy you tend to get quite strong shadows, so I'm going to do them fairly strong. Light coming from the left, the trunk of the tree on the grass, it will throw a shadow. That one will throw a smaller shadow because it's smaller, and then even put a dash of colour, because even shadows, like everything else, fades as you go further back. A little bit of the underpainting can show through, that's okay as well. Come back with my bright white and cut in, because the first bit of the shadow is quite skinny. Over the cypress tree.
So now I'm going to put the dark side of the tree trunk into the painting, and I'm going to come up one side of it. So I've blended it a bit more, and I'm working from light to dark, and I'm just adding in a bit more dark to kind of bring it together, being very careful to stick to the position in which the light's coming. And then I'm going to get a dark green and coming out from the side, which we're then going to work into with a kind of lighter tone greens on top.
So I'm going to put the leaves onto Phoebe's lovely tree here. So I've mixed the mid-tone green, and I have got the worst decorating brush that I could find, one where the bristles are all split up. And these are brilliant for painting far away little leaves. If you think of the tree, the flow of the leaf usually follows the flow of the branches. And with the brush, you can just start to build to get the kind of... The light is coming from the left-hand side. I made a much more zingy yellow. Okay, so I want my leaf to go behind. I'm just going to use some tape again.
So now I'm going to put the brushwork in to fill out the tree on this side. So I'm just going to come in, I'm going to have very light parts, and then a mid-tone going into the dark.
Now we're going to do the balustrade. So I've cut a stencil to stop it going on the background, and I'm going to sponge on the stony look. I've got my two whites, and you can either use a rough or brush, but I've actually got a nice sponge, and I'm just going to sponge lightly all over the piece. So these have dried, and I've now mixed up a runny, dirty wash, and I'm literally going to go down the side that doesn't catch the light, and onto the bottom. And I'm working quite fast because I'm planning to just blend it in a little with the sponge.
So now it's time to do the tiles in the foreground. What I've done is I've given the lighter tiles a base coat and then 2 layers of slightly variations of a similar stony colour with a sponge. And now I'm going to use a kind of grey to do the dark tiles, and similarly add on with a kind of spongy effect. And I'm just going to hold this piece of cardboard so I can go generously onto the tile itself, and you want to keep the print quite dense.
We've painted the dark side of the alcove a soft grey. Because this side is much lighter, because the sun is streaming in the window from there, over this I've got a white emulsion. And it will just neaten everything up when I pull the masking tape off. Okay, so Phoebe has done some really nice little kind of shadowy, dirty little bits in the corners, which has settled these walls down onto the floor. And I'm going to do something that's a little bit scary. I've mixed up a kind of dirty wash. Basically, the sun is coming from this angle and the shadows are going to go across the floor like this. And because I don't want to exactly shape them, I'm just going to do that. And then this one, so already got that there, it would go down and then it would hit the floor about like that. And the same there, it comes across down and hits the floor about there.
Okay, so I'm going to add into this space a dove, and I've just printed one off the internet, and I'm going to just stick it where I want it in the composition, and then I'm just going to around it.
I think that's more or less finished. What do you think?
Yeah, thanks, Mum.